Hello everyone, this is FallenDice and welcome to my new series, Bee Master. The reason I'm doing this is just because after spending 2 weeks trying to learn bees and all the different resources available, and it just it seemed to me it was a little more difficult to get all the information that I wanted, that I thought would be convenient to find as far as for how to get started. A lot of the stuff out there was for once you actually got a good grasp on the bees. Some of the stuff just seemed like it was guesses, so I figured I would take everything I've learned here in the past couple weeks, and we're just going to go ahead and put it in and try to make a real easy to follow, simple bee series. So they're going to be short little videos. This basic one is just the getting started, how to find your first bees and how to actually breed them. Nothing to do with mutations or anything. We'll get to that later. And the basic items that you need to craft to do this. So we're gonna get started here, and this is my original where I did all my bee stuff before I had uh, got to the point I'm at. So we'll come back to here, and this is gonna be our nice little classroom, we'll call it. So anyway, let's go over to where let's go to my crafting area, and let's build the first item we need to get started on our new bee education. The first thing we need to do is to craft an item that'll allow us to capture the bees. And the only way to get bees is to find them in the naturally occurring hives that you'll find in the different biomes of Minecraft. Now, once you find one of those hives, though, if you break the hive, it just is gone. So to actually capture one, we need what's called a scoop. Now, the scoop is going to be crafted using sticks in this formation here with one piece of wool in the middle, and that's going to craft you one scoop. Now every time you capture or break one of the hives, it will take damage and eventually your scoop will break. So it's good to either bring a few with you or bring the materials so you can craft more along the way. Alright, so it's time to head out, and I'm going to go this direction because I haven't actually gone bee hunting this way yet. And while we do, we'll go over two things. Number one, nighttime hunting for bees is actually a good idea as long as you've got armor and weapons. Because at night, the beehives will put off their own light, so you can actually, if you look ahead and see light, it's usually a pretty good chance you probably have a hive or possibly a lava, but hives are a good chance. And so, like I said, it makes it a lot easier to find hives in some of the more difficult areas, like the forests, because sometimes they like to hang from trees. They're not completely obvious where they are, so having that little bit of help can come in handy. All right, so here we are, and we have a naturally occurring hive. This would happens to be the Meadows Hive. And you'll find these, the plains, extreme hills, all the different grassy type biomes that are not a forest. Now what we'll do is we'll take our scoop, we're going to left click the hive, and when it breaks, you see what we have? We have two bees and a honeycomb. Now each time you break a hive, you're going to get one princess. You probably most times will get a princess, a drone, and a honeycomb. Sometimes you won't get the honeycombs, sometimes you may not get a drone, sometimes you may get extra, but you should always get at least one princess. Now, you also have a chance of sometimes getting a valiant, whether it be a valiant drone or princess, and that is just a naturally occurring chance on any of the world hives that you see of getting one of these. And that is going to give us the ability to do some other stuff later on. We're not going to go into that quite yet. Like I said, that's definitely further in. But there we have our first hives. Now, the possible hives or bees that you can get naturally occurring are the meadows, which you just seen, and like I said, we find those in the plains. There's also the forest bee, which you'll get in the forests. I got the birch forest, oak forest, things of that type. A taiga, which you would think would have them, is actually not because it's a colder climate. So even though you think you'd find them, it's actually going to have the wintry bees. The tropical you'll find in the jungle. They also have a nasty habit of stinging you or poisoning you, but we'll also get into that later. A few other bees I'd collected along the way. We also have Marshy, which you will find in the swamps. The Modest, which is what you're going to find in the desert biomes. The Wintry, like I said, is going to be in the snow. So Alpine, the icy areas, taigas, the snowy rainforest, some of those areas. And the other naturally occurring hive is going to be the Ender Hive, which you'll actually find in the end. And then those are your natural ones. From there, we're going to basically breed in all of the other possibilities. And of course, like I said, there's the Valiant, which you may get on a random chance. But we have our first bees, so let's head back and let's start getting into our basics of what we have to do to start breeding them. Now we got the bees, but to do anything with them, we're going to have to give them a home because we did destroy their naturally occurring one. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by building an apiary. Now to build an apiary, first off we need to build this basic forestry block, which is our sturdy casing. And that's just made with 8 bronze ingots in a circle. Once you've got your sturdy casing, we then take that and we're going to add some more bronze ingots along the sides and then 2 glass blocks, and that is going to give us our carpenter. And this is a required item to be able to build what's needed for the next parts. So we will take our carpenter, and I'm going to come over here and we're going to grab this engine, a lever, and some charcoal. So we're going to get this first initial contraption going, and I'll probably kind of make this look a little better as we move along. But we'll place our first engine there, and we'll place the carpenter underneath it. And say we'll got our lever here, and we'll put in some charcoal. The next item we need to make, and the reason why we need this is because the carpenter requires a specific regent to be able to make our aviaries. So we need a squeezer. And the squeezer, once again, takes a sturdy casing, which was 8 bronze ingots in a circle here. But instead of the extra 6 bronze ingots on the side, we replace it with tin, and that is going to give us our squeezer. So then we're going to take our squeezer, and we're going to place it right here over by where we have our carpenter. And again, put on a nice little lever, and we have a second engine, and I'll go ahead and take half of our charcoal out and put it in over here. So now we've got 2 of our forestry items going, and we need to first off provide this with a material. So let me go ahead and grab those real fast, and I will be right back. Alright, so to move along now, we need a place to put the product we are about to collect. And since we don't have the beeswax yet, which will allow us to make this cheaper later, we're just going to take 3 tin and make us some cans. So we then take our cans and we come over here, and you can see I've already placed seeds into our squeezer. So we have our seeds in the squeezer. We're going to place our cans down here, and we're going to turn on our engine. And what this is going to do is it's going to start converting our seeds into our new product, which is seed oil. Once we have enough seed oil in the reservoir here, it'll fill up a can, and it's going to put it over here. And there we go. 50 seeds later, and we have a seed oil can. And again, you can do different things. You can use a bucket, or you could use wax capsules and things. The problem is you lose the item over here. So the cans out of the tin was an easy, cheap thing to make to start with until we actually get our bees going, and then we have a much better way of doing this. But we will now take our seed oil can, place it up here, and it will put it over into this reservoir. So we are now ready to get to the next part of our construction. The first thing we need to craft our apiaries now is an impregnated casing. And we're going to craft that by placing the logs in the carpenter, any type of logs in there, and as long as we got the seed oil, it will start crafting us the carpenter once we apply power. So there we go, we got power applied, so now we're going to start seeing our progress bar move up, and as soon as it's completed, we will get our first impregnated casing. And from there, we can go ahead and craft ourselves an apiary. And there we go. Should have our first impregnated casing coming out here right now. And there we go. Here is our impregnated casing. I think I'll leave enough in to make another one of those, but we'll use the oak wood here to make some other blocks that we now need. Alright, so we're going to come over here, and we'll get rid of all this. And first off, we need some wooden slabs. So we'll do that to give us this. Now, what we do is we're going to take our wooden slabs across the top, the impregnated casing in the center, and then our planks around, and that is going to give us our apiary. So we'll go ahead and craft that, and we are now ready to place our bees in their new home. So we'll just pick a spot over here, place it down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our bees, and right now we don't know anything about the bees, but we will get, in our next episode, we'll get into some of the toys that we get that allow us to learn a little bit more about the bees. But for right now, we'll go ahead and we'll take our princess and a drone, and just so you know, they have to go in that spot. I cannot put the princess down here. Princess goes in the top, drone goes right there. The progress bar shows them breeding, and once they complete, we are going to have a queen. Now the queen is going to stay in this hive until this progress bar goes to the bottom, and once it does, she will die. But she will leave behind one princess, and depending on some of the other stats that these guys have, 1, 2, maybe even 3 drones. Usually you get 2 drones, but you can get up to 3. Oh, and we have a crafty creeper that learned how to get in here. That's not good. Huh. Alright, well, we'll get rid of that right now, just so that never happens again. Although I probably can still come from over there. Anyway, so like I said, we have our progress bar here. So while the queen is still alive, she has the chance of producing different items. The items depend on the breed, and you can do some breeding between the different bees to give some of the items to other things by having what they call hybrids or the mutations. But the chance of him producing an item isn't the best in the state that it is right now. We need to give the queen a little bit of help. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to create some frames. Now frames, what they do is they are going to increase the productivity of our bees. There are 3 different types of frames, and what we'll do is we'll actually use NEI for this. But we have 3 types of frames, 2 that we can actually create, and 1 that you have to trade with an Apiaries. So you've got your untreated frame, your impregnated frame, and your proven frame. All 3 frames give the exact same chance of the bee to increase their production. It's 10% regardless of which type you use. The difference between the different frames is how long they last. Your untreated frame is going to go through rather quickly, and then you have to replace them a lot. Impregnated frame will last longer, but the proven frame is going to last you the longest, so it's going to have you replacing them the least amount compared to the others. The simplest to make, though, is the untreated frame, and we make that with sticks surrounding a single piece of string. So we're going to make 3 of these. Come over here, and 3 is the most that you can place in one of these, and they're going to fill up these spots here. They have a life bar as well. Once they're used up, they will disappear, and you will have to manually come in and replace it. But like I said, now we've increased the productivity of this bee by 30%. The impregnated frame, which is the other one we can make, takes a little bit more to create. That requires an impregnated stick around the string. Your impregnated stick is going to come from taking 2 logs in your carpenter with the seed oil, and that's going to give you our impregnated stick. So we have our 2 more impregnated casings, which are going to allow us to make our 2 more aviaries. But now you can see that by changing the recipe now, we have 4 impregnated sticks. The proven frame is something you have to buy from the villagers using the NPC trading. If you go out looking for villagers, you may find some, and they are going to have a special building. It's going to, instead of having wooden walls, it's going to have a cherry wood wall, and which is actually kind of cool. I destroyed a few of those as I was exploring to make my own bee area back at spawn. But in this back, it's going to have a couple hives going that you can actually break. They'll have some frames inside there, but you can also trade them emeralds for proven frames. So if you have a good spot going, you can go back and forth and trade for those. Otherwise, you can just kind of make your own. Again, it doesn't increase the productivity all, it just lasts longer, so it's kind of a personal preference. But we're going to go now and watch this as his lifespan moves. You can see he's already produced 1 honeycomb, and we're going to wait till it gets to the end here, and then I'll show you what happens to the queen at the end, and that'll be the end of our first instructional video here. Alright, so our first queen has died, and we still have our honeycomb that it produced. It only produced the 1, but we're going to have to increase the productivity through breeding to get them to do more than that. It's decent enough. And we got 2 drones. So that's kind of what you expect to get, is 1 queen, 2 drones. And once it's done, you can just put them back in and continue breeding them over and over and over to get the items. Or, what we should be doing is trying to get better bees. So, that is what we'll go over in our next episode, is first off, how to know what type of bee you have, and then how are we going to get those better bees. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.